Hello, welcome back. In the AMET region, the negotiation of virtual power purchase agreement is shaped as much by cultural realities as by legal clauses or financial models. The Middle East in particular is a relationship-driven environment where trust, personal reputation, and social alignment often determine whether commercial talks succeed. This session explores the cultural underpinnings that influence every stage of a VPPA discussion, from how introductions are made to who actually holds decision-making authority to how concessions are exchanged and agreements finalized. We will examine how tribal, familial, and political networks intersect with corporate governance, how indirect communication styles protect relationships, and how local norms around hospitality, religion, and time affect both process and outcome. The aim is to equip you with practical cultural intelligence that can be directly applied alongside legal and commercial strategies to secure and sustain agreements in this complex and interconnected region. By the end of this session, you will be able to recognize and strategically work with the cultural factors that drive VPPA negotiation in the Middle East. You will understand how credibility is established before a single contract clause is discussed, why formal meetings often follow a prolonged relationship building phase, and how to interpret indirect language and non-verbal signals. We will also explore practical ways to engage with hierarchical structures where decisions may require endorsements from stakeholders not in the room, and how to preserve dignity for all parties during difficult conversations. Ultimately, the goal is to integrate cultural awareness with commercial acumen so you can close deals that are not only signed but also respected and performed over the long term. In the Middle East, as much as of the AMET region, business is not conducted in a cultural vacuum. Many corporate and government entities operate in high context cultures where the unspoken carries as much weight as the written. Trust is built through repeated personal interactions and reinforced by reputation within a community or industry network. This means that even the most favorable pricing or watertight legal drafting will not guarantee a signed VPPA if the human and relational dimensions are neglected. Additionally, those present in negotiations may not be the ultimate decision makers. Influence often flows through senior leaders, board members, and political patrons who are not in the room. By developing cultural fluency, you can better interpret subtle cues, anticipate approvals pathways, and avoid missteps that might otherwise derail the deal at advanced stage. Before contract language is examined, a Middle Eastern counterparty will often want to know who you are, who stands behind you, and whether you are in the market for the long haul. This stage is about rapport, not red lines. Warm introductions from trusted figures, industry leaders, government officials, or well-connected advisors can open doors that good outreach cannot. Demonstrating that you are investing in the market for more than just one transaction signals stability and seriousness, especially in long-duration contracts like the VPPAs. Offering non-competitive insights or support, such as sharing market intelligence or inviting stakeholders to relevant events, build early goodwill. Pushing for formal proposals or detailed clause-by-clause reviews before this trust foundation is set can create an impression of opportunism and undermine your credibility. Negotiators from outside the region often misread apparent consents as a final deal, only to find that the agreement is subject to approval from senior leaders or boards. In many Middle Eastern corporate and public entities, decision-making authority resides at the top, and even high-ranking negotiators may be limited to information gathering or preliminary alignment. Public disagreement with a superior and culturally discouraged, so meeting room harmony may mask unresolved internal debates. Final go-ahead may depend on timing board meetings, ministerial reviews, or family council discussion. By mapping the organization's decision cycle and understanding who must ultimately endorse the VPPA, you can proactively structure timelines, presentation materials, and relationship management to smooth these final approval steps. In Middle Eastern negotiations, maintaining relationship harmony often takes precedence over blunt rejection. As a result, a statement of agreement in principle may simply express a willingness to explore rather than building acceptance of terms. Extended silence or slow replies are not necessarily avoidance. They may indicate internal coordination, consultation with stakeholders, or strategic patience. Written communications are typically formal and measured, intended to serve as alignment on or unresolved hesitation. Misreading these cues can lead to premature assumptions about deal closures. Trust is a central currency in Middle Eastern business culture, and in VPPA negotiation, it can outweigh even the strongest contractual safeguard. While international investors may view the signed contract as the primary guarantee, many local partners place greater emphasis on the character and track record of the individuals involved. A warm introduction from a trusted figure can move you months ahead in the trust building process, while early acts such as sharing useful insights or supporting the partner's industry initiatives demonstrate commitment to a shared journey rather than a quick profit. Once trust is earned, it often creates a buffer that allows both sides to navigate unexpected challenges without resorting to formal dispute channels. Conversely, a perceived breach of trust, whether through broken promises, disrespect, or opportunistic behavior, can damage not just the VPA but your ability to operate in the broader market. In the Middle Eastern VPA negotiation, the concept of time is often approached with flexibility, especially when the relationship building stage is still in progress. Attempting to compress timelines too aggressively can be interpreted as impatience, disrespect for process, or a transactional mentality. The phrase inshallah or God willing is common for and reflects hope, faith, or conditional possibility rather than a guaranteed outcome. It should be interpreted in cultural context, demonstrating flexibility and pace, particularly around religious holidays, national events, or key political cycles, can lead to greater long-term commitment and smoother contract performance. Ultimately, respecting the local rhythm of decision making helps align your urgency with your readiness. In the Middle East, hospitality is both a social norm and a strategic business tool. Meals, coffee meetings, and social gatherings are not merely nice to have gestures. They are vital spaces where relationships are cemented and trust is deepened. Declining such invitation repeatedly can unintentionally convey disinterest, or even disrespect. Informal settings are often where sensitive issues, political considerations, internal hesitations, or competitive concerns are discussed more openly than in the boardroom. Understanding that hospitality is part of the negotiation process, not a break from it, allows you to use these moments to build rapport that can speed up formal approvals and reduce later friction. While Westerns contracting often emphasize rigid enforcement as a sign of security, in much of the Middle East, the emphasis is on building a relationship that can adapt over time. Overly legalistic posturing early in talks can be perceived as a mistrustful or confrontational. Many counterparties prefer a balance, written clause for clarity and relational assurances to maintain flexibility. When disputes arise, the preferred path is often mediation, sometimes informal, before pursuing formal litigation or arbitration. Moreover, perceptions of political stability, whether within the country or the broader region, heavily influence the counterparty's risk appetite and willingness to commit to long-term VPPAs. In Middle Eastern negotiation culture, bargaining is not only accepted, it is expected. First offers are typically opening positions, with room for movement built in. Concessions are ideally reciprocal, signaling mutual respect and balance in the relationship. It's not uncommon for negotiators to maintain a firm public stance while privately exploring areas for compromise. The most significant concessions are often held back until the final stage, presented as goodwill gesture to seal the deal and signal partnership spirit. Above all, negotiations must be handled in a way that preserve the dignity of both parties. Causing one side to lose face can not only end the current deal but damage long-term prospects. In the Middle East, governments and regulators frequently play a decisive role in whether a VPPA proceeds, particularly in markets where energy is strategic to national policy. Protocols matter. Addressing officials by their correct titles, using appropriate formalities, and following official channels is essential for credibility. Access to regulatory decision makers is often indirect, relying on networks, intermediaries, or multi-step introductions. Early engagements with these stakeholders helps identify and mitigate compliance risk before they surface late in the process. In politically sensitive markets, trust between public and private actors is critical, not just for contract approval, but for long-term operational stability of the project. Signing a VPPA in the Middle East is the midpoint, not the end of the relationship. Ongoing engagement through regular updates, financial, operational, or regulatory signals reliability and partnership spirit. Addressing small issues promptly and privately prevents escalation that could damage the relationship. Remaining active in industry forums, conferences, and community initiatives keeps your presence visible and your commitment clear. Neglecting the relationship after signing risks it weakens trust, which can jeopardize future contract renewals or opportunities for expansion. At the very end, in the AMET region, cultural fluency is not an optional skill. It is a competitive advantage that can make or break a VPPA negotiation. Trust, respect for hierarchy, and sustained relationship building are woven into every stage of the process, from the first introduction to long after the ink is dry. Flexibility in how you pace discussion, communicate intentions, and exchange concessions is critical to aligning with local norms. A contract's legal strength must be underpinned by relational credibility for it to be truly enforceable in practice. Finally, long-term success depends on continuous post-signing engagement in this region. Contracts are living agreements sustained by the human relationships that created them. Thank you very much. This is my advice regarding your work in a culturally sensitive environment in the AMET region. This is Dr. Zaid Ziyadat speaking behind the mic. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thank you for listening for this lecture.